Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. Means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. I hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If not, we'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jordan Kitchens and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Lots to do over the next couple of hours. Preston Guy here in 15 minutes talking Tiger football. And that's not all the LSU football we're going to talk. I'll do it in the next segment. Is LSU a young football team? We touched on it yesterday. I've written about it at LouisianaSports.net. We'll discuss that at 1:30. Final summer baseball update for LSU. Jordan Tyson spoke with the media today after a couple days of workouts with the Saints. We'll talk about that. Jason Caldwell from Inside the Auburn Tigers is going to be with us coming up at 2:15. We did not talk to Jason at SEC Media Days. Auburn was the one LSU opponent that we didn't spend a significant amount of time on, and I'm very curious about Auburn with a new coach, but a proven quarterback at the college level. And I liked Alex Golish on the podium, and Jason said, call me next week and let's get something on the books. So we're going to do it today. LSU will travel to the Plains for an 11 o'clock kickoff in October of this year. So we'll talk about that with Jason in an hour and 15 minutes. So let's crank it up the way we do every day with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Now, as much as we like to talk about the work that's being done on the field in training camp, the stuff that goes on this week is not super impactful. They're not wearing shoulder pads. They're not wearing leg pads. They're not tackling anybody to the ground. They're not practicing with another team. They're not getting ready for a preseason game. There's not a quarterback controversy to get into. It's really mundane stuff at this level, unless something breaks. Obviously, unfortunately, the Brian Brzee news led the first day, but Chris Olave's contract situation has kind of been 1A at this point. And it's something we've talked about all week, and it's something that got finished yesterday. Chris Olave and the Saints agreed to a contract that makes Chris Olave the 8th highest paid receiver in the National Football League. It's a 4-year deal worth $124 million. The guarantee is $52.7 million. He will average about $31 million a year over the course of those 4 seasons. Chris Olave spoke with the media earlier, and before I give my take on what this contract means for New Orleans, hear it from the guy who inked a monster deal.
They feel good. It was kind of a deal we kind of had to meet halfway. Of course, the injuries and everything that happened. Just like I said, the uncertainty in the future, especially with the blood clot, the concussions. We kind of met halfway. They did a great job of communicating that, and I feel like I said, that my agent and them came to a good deal for both of us.
That's a great soundbite. That is a great soundbite. I don't know Chris Olave. I hear him talking to the media, watch him play football. But that sounds like a guy who's got his head on his shoulders. Like, I'm a really good player. I know that. I've got an asking price. And, hey, blood clots. Hey, concussions. Hey, I've had some injury history. I've missed some games. So we got to meet halfway, and it's a great deal. That's a very mature way to go about it, and I think that's great. Now, as far as the analysis of this contract for the Saints, when I say out loud Chris Olave is the 8th highest paid receiver in the National Football League annually, I immediately go, I don't think he's the 8th best receiver in the NFL. Like, that's what first comes to mind. But I do think you have to go deeper than that when you're analyzing what this means for New Orleans and why the Saints front office felt this was the right deal. So you look at some of the names around Chris Olave. He's not in the league with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf. That's the top. Drake London's in there, and we'll get to that in a second. But that's the top of the market. And Chris Olave was not going to sign a deal super competitive with those guys at the top of the market. But he signed a deal with the guys in the next tier, with Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra St. Brown and T. Higgins. Like, that's the group he signed in. Now, if you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, and keep in mind, when you compare wide receiver contracts here, it's not apples to apples. They're different ages. They have different injury history. They've played with different quarterbacks in different systems. Like, they're not all apples to apples, right? So I'm not suggesting that Chris Olave has played in as well-oiled an offense as Amon-Ra St. Brown has played in. That is arguably the best offense in the NFL, with Ben Johnson calling the plays before he went to Chicago and the renaissance of Jared Goff's career and the way that Detroit has moved the football. Like, yeah, and he's a big part of that, but Chris Olave is going to make just a little bit more than Amon-Ra St. Brown over the next couple of years. St. Brown's going to average 30, Olave's going to average 31, and Amon-Ra St. Brown has been way more productive over the last 3 years. He's caught over 4,000 yards worth of balls and 33 touchdowns. And Chris Olave has caught 2,700 yards, so 1,400 yards short, and he's 18 touchdowns short, 33 to 15. Their productivity level is not in comparison, but their payday is about the same. So you would go, well, that's not great. But if you look at the other guys right there with Chris Olave, like T. Higgins makes just a little bit less than Chris Olave. And they've had really similar statistics from a yardage perspective over the last 3 seasons because both of them have missed time due to injury. Like 2 years ago, Olave only caught 400 yards worth of balls. But Higgins last year only caught 656. But if you look at them over the last 3 seasons, they're only separated by about 200 yards, and Olave has more. Now, Higgins has way more touchdowns, 26 to 15. But touchdowns are a little bit by chance, right? It's catches, it's yards, it's being productive. They're similar in terms of catches and yards, and Higgins has more touchdowns, and he's got a way better quarterback when he's healthy. DJ Moore is right there in the range with Chris Olave. DJ Moore makes about $3.5 million less, and DJ Moore has been more productive. He's got 400 more yards receiving over 2 teams over the last 3 years, 400 more yards, and he's got 5 more touchdowns. But it's comparable. 400 yards over 3 years is not that big a deal. 5 touchdowns over 3 years is relatively close. And like Garrett Wilson makes more than Chris Olave. And you might say, well, I like Garrett Wilson more as a receiver, but the fact of the matter is that Chris Olave over the last 3 seasons has more yards and more touchdowns than Garrett Wilson. Now, Garrett Wilson's had bad quarterback play. Chris Olave's had very questionable quarterback play. But it's comparable, and the money's comparable. So it's not egregious from that perspective. Could you suggest he's overpaid? Sure. Do you think he's as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown? I don't. Do you think he's as good as DJ Moore? I would argue probably not. I'd probably take Garrett Wilson over Chris Olave, but it's close. And what didn't happen, which I was afraid of, is that Chris Olave would go over the top of Drake London's guarantee, which we all believe the Falcons overpaid on. And he didn't. He didn't do that. Drake London is going to make $35 million a year average. Olave's at 31. Now, the guarantees are very similar, 52.8 versus 52.7, so right there. And London's a little bit younger. But the Saints didn't have to go over that market that Drake London set, and that was our fear earlier this week. It's like, God, they're dragging their feet, like London signed for this, like you're going to have to go over the top of that, and they didn't. They didn't go over the top of that. And here's the bigger deal. As you look at a salary cap, you're trying to spread the money to put as good a team on the field as you can, right? Everybody understands that. And what I like to do, it's not the only way to do it, what I like to do is analyze how much money you're sinking into a position. We all thought the Bengals may have compromised their roster when they guaranteed Jamar Chase $74 million and then went right over the top of that and guaranteed T. Higgins a massive contract that pays almost $30 million a year. Like, that's a lot of money to sink into one position. What about offensive line? What about your defense that's not stopping anybody? You're putting all your money at wide receiver. You're trying to allocate your resources position by position properly. And guess what? The New Orleans Saints are set to pay Jordan Tyson $8 million a year, probably for 4 years. Maybe if he really balls out, they may adjust that 3 years in. But they may be paying him $8 million a year for 4 years. That's the life of Olave's contract. So if I'm saying that Olave is going to make, on average, $31 million a year, and Tyson's making $8 million, well, now I've got those 2 guys for $39 million. That I can swallow, especially if Tyson becomes a number 1 or really good number 2. It's about how you allocate resources to a position. They're not overpaying Devon Vele. They're not overpaying Jalen Polk. This is their big investment at wide receiver. And guess what? Chris Olave has proven himself time and time again to be an 1,000-yard receiver with poor quarterback play. I get the injury thing. I'm fully understanding that there have been injuries in multiple spots that are deemed serious and potentially progressive. When you have multiple concussions, they say your next one comes more easily. Blood clots, nothing to play with, okay? I understand. But the Saints did not overreach here with Chris Olave. Would I have loved it if it was $3 or $4 million a year less? Sure. Is that realistic? Probably not. When you stack up Chris Olave with T. Higgins and DJ Moore and Garrett Wilson, there is not a huge difference in their production over the course of the last 3 years. Drake London right there with them. And the money is comparable. Would you feel better if I bumped him down by $2 million and he was 12th instead of 8th? That's semantic. It's just not that big a deal. This is a good thing for the Saints to do. He's clearly a productive player when he's on the field. I get the injury stuff, but he's productive when he's on the field. He has been a model teammate. He goes out there and works out, even though he's right in the throes of a generational altering contract negotiation. When you sign for a guarantee of $52.7 million, you have altered multiple generations of your family. And he was in the middle of that, and he's still willing to be out there, even as Brian Brzee, he's watching him tear his ACL. Now, he didn't go through team stuff, I get it, but he's out there. He could have just not showed up. He's here, he wants to be, he was understanding of the contract negotiation, and he's pretty productive. And your next wide receiver, Jordan Tyson, coming up, is on the cheap. This is a good deal for the Saints. This is not like the Alvin Kamara deal that I did not like right up front. They gave him that deal. I said, he's older than that. He's not productive enough to do with that. That is more than I would have given him. And guess what? The Saints went right out behind that deal and signed a running back over the top of him for more. So now you got way too much money invested in aging running backs. Let's not pretend like Achen's really young. And so what the Saints had to do, they had to come back and take money out of Kamara's wallet. That was an overreach. That I didn't like from the start. This one is very digestible. Could it have gone a little bit south of it? Sure. Is that realistic? Probably not. This is a marketplace where the dollars and cents just go up. Where I would have thrown the flag up and gone, wait a second, is if you'd have gone $4 or $5 million over Drake London. And then if you're $4 or $5 million over Drake London, you're talking about getting into the Jamar Chase category. And that's the point where I'd have gone, no, sir. You have overreached. They did not overreach here, especially when you consider all the variables at bay. Now, it's possible, if you want to play devil's advocate, that Chris Olave deals with injury issues and is only available for 60% of the games over the course of this contract. But you can't know. And yes, drafting Jordan Tyson, who has injury concerns, behind Chris Olave, who's got injury concern, is a risk. But it's always a risk. Chris Olave was a hit in the first round in terms of his ability to play in the NFL. He's not super old, 26 years old. He's got at least 2-3 years of prime left in him. This is a reasonable contract for the New Orleans Saints, and when I heard that answer from Chris Olave, it made me like it even more. This is a good job by the Saints of getting playmakers around your young quarterback. Now put him out there on the field, get him ready to go. And it was great to see Chris Olave out there today, running full speed, catching passes from Tyler Shuck. It's time to get ready to play football season. Chris Olave didn't have to worry about dollars and cents anymore for the rest of his career. It's a very good thing in New Orleans. We'll talk to Preston Guy at TigerBait.com next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Look, this month is just about over. That means August 3rd is coming very, very quickly. What does that mean? That means you got to get by Fabry Chevrolet GMC right there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville, because they're offering employee pricing on the 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali's now until August 3rd. So you can get by and get $8,000 off select Denali's. Chevy's also offering 0% APR financing for 5 years on the 2026 Silverado 1500s, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. 3 months, no payments at Fabry Chevrolet GMC on those Silverados now until August 3rd. And they're offering bonus cash if you're a first responder, firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers, EMT paramedics. Bonus cash on select new vehicles. Highway 61 in St. Francisville, online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized, it'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Get on by and see them. Government between Foster and Jefferson. You can check out the menu at corksfishandshrimp.com. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, with us every single Friday talking Tiger football. Preston, how are you?
All right, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure. We'll have real football to talk about from now through December, which is quite nice. But before we get to that, your thoughts on the Ole Miss lawsuit between toward LSU's Devin Harper and Prince William Ellen?
Yeah, I mean, look, Hunt, I'm not a legal expert here. So I always find these issues really funny, why people care about what sports reporters care. I mean, unless you're like, someone like, who covers legal lawsuits in sports frequently, which I don't know necessarily why they care about what we think, but ultimately at the end of the day, there's very little impact on the football team itself. I mean, sure, these guys may have to cough up some buyout money, and I think it shows that there's poor handlers and disorganization and a broken system. I don't think that's necessarily news to anybody. Am I going to get up in arms or say fans? I don't understand why fans are up in arms about something that they're not going to have to pay. It's a contract dispute, right? Like, okay, so either, they pay it or they don't. They're going to play for LSU. It's not like they're going to refuse to pay this buyout and they're going to be ruled ineligible or anything like that. So I would say, if anything, my critique of it is just more fuel on the fire. Like, let's just put a little bit more kindling and gasoline to the giant bonfire that we want to be the grudge match of the century coming up September 19th in Oxford.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be something. What are your thoughts, big picture? Take LSU and Ole Miss completely out of it, on contracts being issued and there being, obviously restitution that's got to be paid if you decide to break that contract in collegiate athletics.
And obviously that part is a new feature because unlike NIL, where you can say, well, it was, you're not allowed to give, in compensation for playing. Well, rev share is different. Rev share is a new feature. And yes, you are able to compensate them in exchange for their services on the field directly. So there are buyouts and contracts. I would argue the timeline of these are very concerning because you see things like new contracts signed January 4th, and then 10 days later they're in the portal. I think that the whole portal system, is inherently flawed that will cause a lot of these issues. And everybody can talk about, Lane Kiffin's unethical and he's just, insert an insult here. But at the same time, rules and systems are inherently designed to protect people from, quote, unethical behavior, if that's what you would like to call it. So when I look at situations like this portal and I think about it, Hunt, would you and I quit our jobs in media, just hop into a portal and see what's there for us?
Yep.
No. So, of course, there's going to be a level of, tampering and involvement going on there. I think that there needs to be very defined periods for this kind of stuff. And we really need to stop putting the pressure on building your team during the postseason of the current season. What kind of sense is that? Imagine if in the NFL you're gearing up for the playoffs and coaches and players are having to leave for their team, sign new contracts for the next season, right? That's just it's completely laughable the way it's set up. But, I guess they've convinced themselves that the school calendar is somehow more important than this stuff to them while Sam Levitt signs a $5 million contract. But, I think that there just is a lot of common sense stuff that we have to stop acting like these are student athletes. Oh, well, what if they're not allowed? What if they can't enroll at the school they want to enroll in by January 7th when the new semester starts? So what? You signed, you're making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. This is now more than students. This is a business. And I think that, we need to handle it as such. And these are problems unique to college athletics. We've had pro sports where people have been paid for probably, I would wager, about a century. And we still can't figure out, hey, why don't we just do what we did there in college? And we'll have less issues and problems. And we can't seem to figure out anything. So anyways, that's my biggest takeaway. It's just these are symptoms of a very, very broken, very ill thought out. And by the way, not necessarily even the NCAAs or the conferences. More so the fault of they were having those powers stripped away by judges whose initiative was to get their favorite football player eligible for the season so they can help the Tigers or the Rebels win, not necessarily the greater impact of the sport in mind. It's very granular, tiny, singular issues, right, where there's biases and initiatives really kind of guiding what should be more principled in the larger meta picture of it. So it's kind of a messed up situation.
The NFL literally has a period in the calendar called the legal tampering period, where you're able to get a sense of what's going on in the marketplace, and then the floodgates open and you go. So that's something that can be put into place. You just got to figure out the time of the calendar to do it. All right, let's talk LSU football. Sam Levitt has been working with his offense out there without coaches for the summer. How concerned are you about his missing the physical reps in the spring, and how important was the summer and then what we're getting into next week?
Yeah, I think it's actually, a lot of people talk about veteran players and spring practice not being important. No, I think it helps. You get 15 practice of building chemistry in pads with coaches, certainly you can do a lot during summer workouts, but those 15 spring practices help. And that is what it is. That was one of the reasons why, they looked at other quarterbacks in the portal. They turned out to be very lucky not to get those quarterbacks, but I think it is a damper. I'm going to be very, very anxious to see how well he clicks in this offense early on in spring. I guess we'll get a good look at that Tuesday morning.
You would think. I think Wednesday morning. I think they report on Tuesday, and we're out there Wednesday morning. I think that's
Well, I just meant, the team will get a good look at it starting Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. What's your expectation for Levitt?
Well, I have tempered expectations. I do know that this team is going to be heavily reliant on what he's able to do. He's going to have to open up things because I don't think this is a team where the running game is going to be clicking on its own based on what I've seen. Could be wrong. We'll see how fall camp goes. But you're going to have a dynamic playmaker who opens up the running game. If you look at that 2019 offense, which looks I'm not in any way saying that this is going to be like a 2019 style team, right? But I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that running game, I mean, he ran for 1,400 yards, but in large part that was because of what was opened up through the passing game, right? So you're going to have to give a good element of keeping them honest and making them account for your passing game to open up a running game, right? So that's going to be heavily predicated on Sam Levitt's, right on. So I have tempered expectations despite the level of how important it is because he struggled on the road when he went to Mississippi State this year. He struggled all last year after losing a few playmakers for the most part, right? He's also coming off an injury, and he uses a lot of athleticism to make plays. I'll be interested to see how much of that athleticism will he retain. Is he all of it or more, or did he lose, 98%? Maybe he's 98% speed or whatever, right? Those things can matter. So I have some kind of tempered expectations, particularly early on as he's learning a completely new coaching system, a completely new team he's playing with. I mean, and there's 59 other new pieces on this roster. Remember 2022 when we thought, oh my God, they have so many transfer pieces. How are they going to learn to play together? That was 15 from the portal, and I want to say it was 12 in their high school class, right? So basically, we're talking about double the new faces of that radically changed 2022 team. So I think there's going to be some curves early on of, just learning how to play with one another.
We saw a lot of football in the spring. This last one, Preston, we appreciate some time. If I handed you a crisp $100 bill, a Ben Franklin, would you be? Is there a position on the field where you would not feel comfortable betting that in the starter against Clemson?
Oh goodness. Well, I don't have one off the top of my head that's the most, but defensive tackle.
That was what I was going to suggest.
That one could have some serious curveballs. It looks like O-line set, quarterback set, the receiver room. I'll tell you what, that's probably the real one. I just don't really know which those three guys are going to use. So we'll do that. Receiver for offense, defensive line, defensive tackle. No, not defensive line, defensive tackle.
I think those are probably the two, and we'll get a good long look at that hopefully over the next 3 weeks. We'll have real practice to break down next week, Preston. Have a great weekend. We appreciate the time.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Sounds good. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, with us every single Friday. Looking for a late lunch? Get on by Corks. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Get a shrimp po' boy. Delicious stuff on a summer Friday. Appreciate them for bringing you our Friday shows each and every week. I got into this next topic a little bit yesterday. And it's one of those deals where I start kind of talking on air, and then I think that's something I'd like to look further into as opposed to just hitting the surface level. So I wrote about it at LouisianaSports.net. I'm going to expound on that on tomorrow on LouisianaSports.net, but I'll talk about it with this LSU roster because Lane Kiffin said at the Rotary Club it's actually a really young team. And I thought, is it? So I looked into it, and I'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, First American Bank and Trust. You're in St. James Parish, First American Bank and Trust. St. John Parish, Lafourche Parish, First American Bank and Trust. Maybe St. Tammany, Tangipahoa Parish, First American Bank and Trust. Maybe you're in East Baton Rouge Parish, First American Bank and Trust. They got 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana, and you can get by and see one today. They started up 116 years ago. They're your local banking option. If you want to feel comfortable with your commercial loan, with your personal loan, and know that there's a local decision maker that you're speaking with, when you pick up the phone and call your bank, that a local person answers and not someone in Chicago or San Francisco, it's First American Bank and Trust. Don't think, well, it's a community bank, probably can't handle what I'm asking for. Nope, they can. You're talking about 25 locations, 116 years in business. They can handle it. Commercial loans, personal loans, First American Bank and Trust, online at FABT.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensics investigations, or fielding emergency calls in our operations center, Rev Business connects our teams in real time, which is why we partner with Rev Business.
Get 6 months free of Rev Business Services. Call or click today.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. If you just don't know whether or not your roof is in good shape, you don't feel like, one, climbing up there, or two, you know what you're looking at if you get up there. Well, contact a local company that you can trust, that you can get a hold of, that can come out and give it a look. They're happy to come out and do an inspection. If they find that your roof's in great shape, they'll tell you it's in great shape. If they find that, yeah, there is some damage, we need to do a repair, they're happy to do a repair. Maybe it's in good shape. You don't need a new roof, but it is storm season. It is a little bit dated. Let's go ahead and fortify that roof. Let's get a tune-up. They'll do that. And if you need a new roof, they'll do that. They're not just going to sell you their most expensive product because you called them. That's not Lifetime Roofing. They understand they're here to serve the community that they've grown up in, that they choose to call home. That's Lifetime Roofing. Locally based right here in Baton Rouge. It is storm season. It does rain a lot. If you feel like there's a chance your roof is not in the condition that it needs to be in, contact Lifetime Roofing at LifetimeRoofingLA.com and have them come out. If you need a new roof, they can finance it 0% for 18 months, and they can give you a lifetime workmanship warranty. It's an incredible company to work with. They got an incredible team here in Baton Rouge, a wonderful facility there just off College Drive. It's Lifetime Roofing. They're online at LifetimeRoofingLA.com. Yesterday we talked about it. Wednesday, Lane Kiffin spoke to Baton Rouge Rotary Club and called his team young. And you would not, generally speaking, think of a team as young, especially when you take 40 transfers. Because usually you're taking transfers to play, and guys that play have usually played before, and guys that have played before run out of eligibility pretty quick in collegiate athletics. However, with the new 5-for-5 in place, everybody got a year younger, right? That's just how that works. You used to only have 4 years to play. Now you got 5. So everybody got a year younger. But this LSU team, I would push back on young. I would suggest there are a lot of players on this team that have eligibility beyond 2026. There are only a total on this team of 9 scholarship seniors. So from that perspective, you would look at it and go, oh, that means you've got a lot of guys that are going to play on. But when you look at that fact, and 5 of those 9 transfers are seniors, I start to look at the starting lineup, and you are simply not going to count on young players in your starting lineup. LSU's just not going to do that. In one case that I believe, I think Deuce Geralds is going to play a lot, and he's a freshman. Maybe Lamar Brown does. We haven't seen him yet. I'm not going to just say, 5-star, starter. Let's see. Richard Anderson, 5-star, we'll see. Deuce Geralds, I'm comfortable, is going to play a lot. And the other 2 really may well as well. And then you've got like Harlan Berry and DJ Pickett, who are gonna play. But that's kind of it. Just go around. On offense, I'm counting 7 guys who I think are going to start on offense that are very, 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 very likely not going to be here next year. 7 of the 11. Braylon Moore's not. Bo Bordelon's not. Jace Brown, I don't think is. He's a 4th-year senior. Alu Ba is not. Jordan Seaton's going to get drafted. Trey-Dez Green's going to get drafted. And I think Sam Levitt's going to go. That's 7 guys out of your first 11 that are not going to be here the following season and that have played a ton of football. Braylon Moore's played a ton of football. Bo Bordelon's been here for 4 years. Jace Brown, this is his 4th year of college. Alu Ba, 5th year of college. Jordan Seaton, 3rd year as a starter. Trey-Dez Green, 3rd year of college football. Sam Levitt, this is his 3rd year as a starter. That's a lot of experience. And oh, by the way, guys I didn't mention on offense, Trey Wilson, 4th year of college football as a 5-star, was an All-American freshman 3 years ago. Trey Brown from Old Dominion, 3 years of college football. Jackson Harris has played 3 years of college football. Malik Elzy has played 3 years of college football. Sean Tompkins is a redshirt junior coming over from Baylor on the offensive line. That's a 4th-year college player. Caden Durham has been your leading rusher for 2 years. I didn't mention him. I just gave you 13 offensive guys that are in their 4th or 5th year of college football. That is not young by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not. Weston Davis is a 3rd-year player. That's pretty old. Harlan Berry's a sophomore. But I don't think you don't have a freshman running back. Your 2 quarterbacks behind Levitt are 3rd-year player and a 2nd-year player. You're not young on the offensive side of the ball with the guys you're going to count on. Then you go to the defensive side of the ball. Prince Hulaman Mielen, 4th-year player. Whit Weeks, 4th-year player. TJ Dottery, 5th-year player. Ty Benefield, 4th-year player. All those guys are seniors. Jordan Ross is a draft risk as a junior. Deshaun Spears could play his way into a draft risk. TaMarcus Cooley's in his 4th year. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that are either out of eligibility after this year or very strong draft with 7 more. And that doesn't count Stefan Green, 4th year. Malik Blockton is a junior. Those guys are in the defensive interior. PJ Woodland's a 3rd-year player. Devon Keys, 3rd-year player. Dominic McKinley, 3rd-year player. That's 12 defensive players, and I hadn't told you a freshman or a sophomore. You put that all together, that's 26 guys that are the top of your depth chart without listing a freshman or a sophomore. I told you some that are there that are going to be impactful, but it's DJ Pickett, Deuce Geralds, Richard Anderson, Lamar Brown, and Harlan Berry. 5 guys who are pretty young. So for me, as I look at this team, I just don't see them as young. Winnie Watkins is a 2nd-year player. He's going to play a lot. Dylan Jones, 3rd-year player. He's going to play a lot. And I think what Lane Kiffin is talking about when he's saying that it's a young team. He does mean the team. He doesn't mean the starting lineup. The starting lineup is not young. It's just not. There's no way you could go through that list I just went with and suggest you have a young starting lineup. But it is not to say, when I tell you that the starting lineup's not young, that you are just about to have a mass exodus and nothing coming behind it, because they were very intentional in the transfer portal of getting guys with multiple years of eligibility. So as I then go back through the lineup and go through the 2027 team, and I'll stop right there in my tracks. I know how foolish it is to forecast 2027 right now. Guys transfer like it's a bodily function at this point, okay? So I know that I'm going to name some guys on this list that you're going to hear me say who will not play very much this year and will transfer out and we'll never hear from again. You will have forgotten their names in 2 years. I know that. But just work with the exercise, because the point remains, and there is reason to suggest some continuity on the roster between 2026 and 2027 is reasonable when you figure you're not firing the coach. Okay? Fire the coach, huge staff overhaul, that can lead to mass transfers, and it did for LSU last year. I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to get fired. If he does, I'll eat a bunch of crow, but I don't think he is. So let's go into kind of the depth pieces of this team, and then you realize this is what he's talking about with Young. Husan Longstreet is a redshirt freshman. He's right behind Levitt, waiting in the wings. Landon Clark has 3 years of eligibility left. You don't have a running back that can't come back. Caden Durham can come back. Harlan Berry can come back. Dylan Jones can come back. You can also get Stacey Gage back, and Racine Guillory can come back, and you get the point. You've got none of your running backs have to leave. Up front, you're going to lose 4 starters. Seaton's going to go. Bordelon has to go. Moore has to go. Ba has to go. You're going to lose 4 starters. But you went into the transfer portal and went really hard at players with eligibility left. Devin Harper's a redshirt freshman. William Satterwhite's a third-year player. Sean Tompkins can come back. Darren Stray is just a third-year player. Jacoby Jones is a guy that they think a lot of that comes from junior college. Solomon Thomas hasn't played yet. Weston Davis is only a third-year player. Bryson Martinez they think a lot of as a potential future left tackle. You also have Bo Bordelon and Ryan Moret. You get the point. They got a lot of guys, 10 guys on the offensive line that have more eligibility beyond this season. So, while I don't know if any of those guys are any good, you do have bodies that are young that you are developing, and hopefully they're going to get some offensive line coaching, which we all know what's going on over here the last few years. And Trey Ness is going to go at tight end, but you got Malachi Thomas, who's got another year after this year that you brought in from Pitt, and you've got J.D. LaFleur, and you've got J.C. Anderson, which are big physical bodies who are a freshman and a redshirt freshman. And oh, by the way, we're not really doing this as part of this team because Ahmad Hudson's not on this team, but I feel okay that he's probably going to end up at LSU. And that brings a body into the mix that you can already kind of forecast onto that 2027 team if you want to do this exercise. And wide receiver LSU brought in 13 guys, and the only guy who cannot come back is Jace Brown. Now, he's really good, but there's 12 other guys. So, yes, absolutely. Some of them will go pro. I think Eugene Wilson will move on after this year. Trey Wilson from Florida, I think he moves on. And you might lose a couple other guys, but the point is there's 12 guys behind Jace Brown that have eligibility remaining beyond this year. Flip to the defense. You know what you got in Lamar Brown, Richard Anderson, Deuce Gerald, Trenton Henderson, big-time freshman classes coming in. But still, don't forget about Gabe Relaford. He would come back for that team. Damian Shanklin, Dylan Carpenter, Kalaj Cobbins. And oh, by the way, Stephylan Green, Malik Blockton, and Dominic McKinley are eligible to come back after this football season. None of those guys are in their last year. At linebacker, you have to everybody. Like, Whit Weeks is going to move on. TJ Dottery's got to move on. But everybody stayed. Tylen Singleton stayed. Zach Weeks stayed. I was talking to Whit at Media Days about Zach. He said he's just doing awesome. He's the most physical of the whole Weeks crew. He's only been in college for a year. Charles Ross is back. Jaden Breaker's back. Keelan Moses is back. Like, no, none of those guys are going to start this year. Unless 2 guys get hurt, Singleton, Weeks, Ross, Breaker, Moses not going to start this year. But they're here. And I don't think they'll all be on next year's team. But you have a pipeline of really young players. All those guys are redshirt freshmen, except Singleton is a redshirt sophomore. And by the way, DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland on the corners don't have to go anywhere. Pickett can't, and Woodland is 165 pounds. I don't think he's going anywhere. Aiden Anding will come back, and Haven Finney will come back. That's a young position at corner. You're thin. You don't have enough guys, but it's young. None of them have to leave after this year. And you'll lose Ty Benefield at safety. We'll see what Tamarcus Cooley and Deshaun Spears decide to do. You could lose all your safeties, but Fahim Delane is young, Jace Thomas is young, CJ Jim Coyley is young, Aiden Hall is young, Isaiah Washington's young. You got a lot of safeties too. That's a lot of names to throw at you, and if you're not really involved with LSU football all the time, then you may not know some of those names I rattled off, but the point is that the number of the names. You have a lot of guys that you brought in that were high profile that don't have to leave after this year. So at the same time, the point here is you're not a young football team. Like that's not a way to describe the way the first 22 guys LSU is going to send out against Clemson. It's in fact very experienced. Very experienced. But there is a youth element that they brought into the portal. They did not bring in 40 seniors out of the portal. They brought in 5 seniors out of the portal. So you've got a lot of guys on the back end there that absolutely have time to develop in the program and help you in 2027 and beyond. That's a healthy spot to be in. Of course, some of these guys will transfer out, but the goal is to not have to go get 40 transfers every year. And I don't think LSU will have to do that next year. It's a good place to be. Come back and close out the hour talking for the final time this summer what LSU's Summer League baseball guys are doing. We'll give you about 5 minutes on that and move into hour number 2. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com. Weekends here, punching out, thinking, man, I'd love to play some golf. But I don't have a tee time. Well, that's okay. You don't have to go outside for 5 hours and lose some golf balls and sweat, have to put on a second shirt, wait. No, you can go to Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, right there on Segan at Perkins. You can play 18 holes in an hour. Easy. Fired up Pebble Beach, Cypress Point, TPC Sawgrass, test yourself on the island green. Bring some friends. Crack some cold ones. They got seltzers. They got cold beers. Awesome place to spend some time. They got a turtle box in every bay. It's private. You can crank up the tunes. Got the couches to sit on, watch TV. Great place to hang out on a Friday night, to hang out on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday night. Go by yourself. Bring 6 folks. Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Segan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Well, day's almost over. That means the month's almost over. So if you're trying to get 20% off MSRP for Hustler commercial mowers, you need to go now. If you want 0% financing for the first 48 months on Hustler products, you need to go now to Gotros Outdoor Power. 2 locations, whichever one's more convenient for you, Baton Rouge on Airline or in Gonzales. Go by and get this great deal as July comes to a close. I don't know what's coming in August. I can't tell you. My guy Gant Gotro will tell me, and then I'll tell you. But right now, I don't know. So if you want to get 20% off MSRP on those Hustler commercial mowers, you got to go to Gotros Outdoor Power this afternoon. They are open. So go by and see them on Airline or in Gonzales. 22 years in business, National Hustler Dealer of the Year, 2 of the last 3 years. If you need that new zero-turn mower and you're hearing the sound of my voice right now live, if you're listening on demand, it's probably not good. But if you're live right now listening, go to Gotros Outdoor Power. They're online at gotrosonline.com. All right, quickly, let's get into LSU's summer ball stats. Cape Cod League winds down this weekend. And this will be the last time we do this, y'all. Football starts next week, and I'm not telling you about summer baseball stuff. I'll give you an update on fall baseball come October, but this will be kind of putting it all to bed until Logan Schmidt makes his decision. That'll be the end of kind of baseball discussion for the time being. But let me go through some of the guys on Cape Cod and tell you how things have gone. It's been just a monster summer for Bino Waters, the Notre Dame transfer. With 3 games to go on Cape Cod, .331 batting average with 5 doubles and a homer. He's driven in 25 runs. His OPS is up over 800. And listen to this. 12 stolen bases for Bino Waters. That is eye-catching to me. He's shown his athleticism. He's shown his ability to hit elite pitching with a wooden bat on Cape Cod. This guy is primed for an all-SEC season next year and a high draft grade for sure. Huge summer for Bino Waters with the Chatham Anglers. Dawson Park was an all-star this year on Cape Cod. I'm encouraged by his .254 batting average. It's a tough place to hit up there with a wooden bat against really good pitchers. 4 doubles and a triple. He drove in 5 runs, stole 6 bases. He played second. He played short. He played third base. Played great defense all summer long. Again, made the all-star team. I thought it was great for Dawson Park to get the number of bats that he did. So good summer for Dawson Park in Cotuit. He did not have a stat this year, so I think his summer, this week, so I think his summer is done. Cade Kurland did kind of what Cade Kurland does. Cade Kurland slugged on Cape Cod. He had just a .242 batting average, but 7 doubles and a pair of homers is really slugging up there with the wooden bat. He also stole 9 bases, but in 100 defensive chances for Cade Kurland. 99% of that was at shortstop, second base. I think he played 1 game at shortstop. But he had 100 defensive chances on the infield on Cape Cod. He did not make an error. 0 errors in 100 chances for Cade Kurland. That is really encouraging. We know how LSU struggled on defense, and Cade Kurland brings a great set of infield hands to LSU at second base. So slugging and defense, that's what Cade Kurland's going to bring. I think LSU's going to hit him 7th or 8th in the lineup. He's going to pop some home runs. He's going to hit some doubles, especially with a metal bat, and he'll play really good defense at second base. I love Cade Kurland's fit on this team. Jason Wax did not have a great summer. That's okay. Plenty of guys have had subpar summers on Cape Cod offensively. He hit 200 in 75 at-bats, had 3 doubles and a homer. He did steal 6 bases, and he did walk 14 times, which put his on-base percentage at .355. It was 155 points higher than his batting average. That is a guy who is controlling the strike zone. He obviously did not hit the ball hard enough. And I realize that stats don't tell the whole story, but when you hit 200, it's unlikely you caught really bad breaks for 75 at-bats. But good plate discipline, saw the ball well, drew walks, just didn't make enough hard contact, and that's something that he did do a lot of at Tulane, and it's going to be a big fall for him. But right now, based on what we saw from him and where he played defensively on Cape Cod, which was the majority of the time in center field, I think he's the leader to be your center field. Wax, the Tulane transfer, hit 200, but did get on base at a .355 clips. And then 2 guys that did not have great summers. Eddie Yaman was 10 for 56. He hit a $179 for Brewster, but he did hit 3 home runs. He had 3 home runs and 4 doubles. 7 of his 10 hits were for extra bases for Brewster. And then Reagan Ricken, I haven't talked about him in a few weeks because he made 3 starts and shut it down, so he's been back home for a while. But made 3 starts, 8 innings pitched, 13 hits, 10 runs, 9 earned. So 9 earned runs in 8 innings, not great. Did have 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, and hit two batters. So I'm still high on Reagan Ricken. I like his frame. I like his delivery. I like the shape of his pitches. But a big fall for him if he wants to break into a talented pitching staff. Again, I'm still buying Reagan Ricken stock, but not a great 3 starts for him on Cape Cod. Doesn't mean everything. Might have been up there working on stuff. You never know. But that's your look at Cape Cod. That's published on LouisianaSports.net right now for free if you want to go look at that instead of listen to me talk. It's on the homepage right now at LouisianaSports.net for free. We'll pause for Sports International headlines. Saints and Tigers football in Auburn next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services, Neil and Melissa, have been operating for 40 years down there in the 985. So if you're looking for a Generac home standby generator, look no further than my friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They're local. That's the difference. A local person will come out and survey your property, give you a quote on that Generac home standby generator. Then if you decide to move forward, a local team will install that generator. Then, if there's an issue, Boudreaux's Electrical Services will know about it probably before you because they're monitoring it 24/7. Maybe there's a mechanical breakdown. Maybe one of the kids is out in the backyard and hits the generator with a baseball or something, and they'll know about it. So they'll come out and service it so that when you need your power to come back on, that generator to spring into action, they are ready to roll. It's 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. That's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Find them online at boudreauxelectrical.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Benkin. Training camp continues around the NFL, and several teams continue to deal with injuries. One of them is with the Falcons, where quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is proceeding cautiously while dealing with what is being called a tweak in his back. Tua insisted it's not serious, but there's no timetable as far as when he will be ready to return to full practice. Baker Mayfield is healthy with the Buccaneers, but quarterback is looking for a new contract, and right now he has not been happy with what the team has offered him.
Between years, average, and guarantees, probably the most disappointing is years. Didn't get offered anything over 2, and so when you're told you're a franchise quarterback and they handle it otherwise, that's disappointing. So felt like I earned that. It's not a poor me pity party over here.
Mayfield is on the last year of his current deal. In baseball, the Mets send left-handed reliever A.J. Mitchell to the Twins in exchange for a pair of minor leaguers. Shohei Ohtani is expected to be back in the Dodgers lineup tonight after taking off last night. He continues to deal with a knee injury. Dodgers open up a series with the Red Sox tonight. Bottom of the third at Wrigley, Yankees and Cubs are scoreless. College basketball, Wichita State has given head coach Paul Mills a 3-year contract extension.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Last hour of the week for us here. I hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If not, we'll get you to the finish line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jason Caldwell covers the Auburn Tigers. He's going to be with us in 15 minutes. That's the one team on LSU's schedule we did not spend as much time on at SC Media Days last week, and Jason was there. I had a chance to potentially get him on, but he had family in town in Tampa, and so he wanted to get out and hang out with them. And I said, probably more important than sitting here with me and talking about Auburn for 15 minutes. So we let Jason run along, and he said we'd catch him this week, so we did today. We'll catch up with him in 15 minutes talking Auburn. LSU hasn't played Auburn on the Plains in a number of years, and so it'll be good to get back there. 11 o'clock kickoff and in a new era of Auburn football with Alex Golish at the helm. So we'll talk to Jason in 15 minutes. Right now, we'll talk about the New Orleans Saints. 3 practices in the rearview mirror. Jordan Tyson had an opportunity to meet with the assembled media today and covered a number of topics. Obviously, Chris Olave front of mind today as he got that contract worked out yesterday, and they kind of formed the top 2 guys in the Saints passing attack. I spoke back in hour number 1, if you missed it, about how I felt good about the numbers in the Olave contract because of the numbers in Jordan Tyson's contract. And when you pay your number 2 receiver $8 million a year, you can afford to go north of $30 million or right at $30 million for Chris Olave because you average those 2 guys out. Paying $38 million a year to your top 2 wide receivers, I think is a really reasonable thing to do. And for the life of Olave's contract, Jordan Tyson's going to be right there on that rookie deal unless he really balls out and they've got to go ahead and restructure that thing and extend it early. So right now, it's I believe, a really nice tandem that could really blossom into something excellent if Tyson becomes what we think he can be. And Jordan Tyson today talked about playing opposite Chris Olave.
It's amazing. Chris is a great player. He gets off the ball super fast. He can run every route, do everything necessary at the receiver position. And I'm just trying to take notes from him, ask questions, and yeah, he's kind of the vet for me, so that's amazing.
And yesterday we had Luke Johnson on from NOLA.com, and he was talking about how watching Jordan Tyson in limited time, it was just very similar to watching Olave move out there, just bigger. And I think that's what you want. Immediately, Jordan Tyson becomes the most physically gifted wide receiver on your roster. Immediately. He's bigger than Olave. He's more athletic than Olave. He's got a ways to go to be as productive as Olave. He's a consistent 1,000-yard receiver. But athletically, he's the best you got. And I think it's awesome when I hear Luke Johnson, who's obviously out there every single day, him talk about the similarities in what they do. It just gives you a great role model to learn from. And Tyson hinted at that in that clip, and then he expounded on learning from Chris Olave, who now is a 4-year vet right here.
Chris is a real quiet guy, but when he says something, it's the truth. It's the 100% the truth, and it's real. And yeah, I'm definitely just like I said, asking questions, picking his mind. He's probably gonna get tired of me, but shoot, I'm getting better.
I like that. He's going to get tired. Just ask questions. Speak up. You got to do that as a young rookie. Now, when I think about Jordan Tyson personally, this is just a me thing because I watch the highlights and whatnot. I think of him as a big play guy. I think of him as a guy with huge vertical ability. I think of him as a guy that takes the top off of defenses, that has great speed and good size. And I think about all the things you can't really teach that Jordan Tyson possesses, which are, to me, pretty special. Route running doesn't immediately come to mind. I did never suggested that he was a bad route runner. It's just not what comes to mind for me. But they asked him about his ability as a route runner because you can't get by on the NFL with just freakish athleticism unless you're Calvin Johnson or Randy Moss. And as athletic and gifted as Jordan Tyson is, he's not Calvin Johnson and he's not Randy Moss. He's a really athletic dude, but he's not those dudes. So you got to be able to get off the line. You got to be able to run routes. And Jordan Tyson talked about his ability as a route runner entering the NFL.
So it really started in high school. I was short, so I played slot receiver. So I was like more the twitchy, like smaller guy, can run routes. And then I just grew to 6'2" and just happened to still obtain that ability. So that's really what it comes from. But still just looking at the small details, critiquing everything, even if you catch the ball, seeing what I can still get better on. So
I love those stories. You know what that made me think of? It's not a great ending in New Orleans for this guy, but that story made me think of Anthony Davis. If you were familiar with him in high school and in Kentucky, he was a guard his whole life. He was an undersized guard his whole life, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of high school, he just shot up, and he was 6'10". Well, he had been dribbling and shooting his whole life, and then he grew into this huge body, and so he still kept some of those skills with his hands and his touch and all that kind of stuff, but he just grew to ridiculous length. And I think to have to do it one way and then to actually get the physical gifts that you didn't have compared to your peers, it makes you a better player. When you can just lean on your physical gifts, the kids, watch Little League World Series. Watch Little League World Series. The kids that have hit puberty at 12 are bashing homers. I don't know if they're good or not, if they have good mechanics or not, but they're just bigger and stronger than everybody, so they just bully everybody all over the field. You can see a youth football game. It looks the same way. But the guys that have to do it technically and then get the physical gifts later, I think that's a great way to go about it. And I'm not familiar with Jordan Tyson's story back in high school, but there you have it. It probably explains why he ended up at Arizona State and not at one of the Blue Bloods. But he grew into a great, great player and became a first-round pick of the New Orleans Saints. And that was a process, and we all talked about it throughout that time of dealing with the injury history that Tyson had. Multiple hamstring injuries to different legs is a red flag. And that's something the Saints had to vet very, very closely. And Jordan Tyson spoke today about the exchange between him and professional organizations, the Saints included, on what that process was like and how he felt entering the draft.
There was a recurrence for your hamstring injury before the draft. Can you elaborate on that, or like did you get hurt again, or what happened?
During the combine process, but wasn't nothing crazy. Just kind of continued to work as I was the whole time. But we're doing just fine now. Back on track.
Are you on like a maintenance plan at all?
Just a ramp up, or maintenance too in the training room. Just keep stuff strong. Yeah, kind of a lot of people on that, but yeah.
Is it one of these things you want? They're holding you back?
I've obviously dealt with injuries before, so it's important to have your warm up. It's important to have the small little micro doses of stuff, and yeah, I enjoy it. More work, getting better.
Look, I know there are plenty of y'all out there in Black and Gold Who Dat Nation that are going, this is risky. It's a risky draft pick. I just don't know. I think there's a chance he gets hurt, and like that is not an unreasonable thing to think. And when you hear things like that with the recurrence of the injury in the combine process and the kid gloves they used in camp and the ramp up that he's got to go through and the treatment that he's got to get and the fact that this dates back a couple of years now, like I get it. I fully get it. And if you're proven right, you'll look really, really smart, and I'll look really foolish. I was willing. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an orthopedics expert. I don't know what Jordan Tyson's feeling. I don't look at the MRIs. I don't know. But I thought it was a worthwhile bet based on the ability and the need of this team. You needed a number one potential receiver, certainly a high level number two, if not a number one. And I thought he gave you the best chance at that. We'll see. But I understand those of you that hear that bite and go, that doesn't make me feel great. I get it. But we'll see. So now he's in camp. Now he's working. Now he's working on becoming a factor for this team. And one of the guys he's got to lock horns with every day is Kool-Aid McKinstry. He talked about that.
His technique as well. He's confident in his technique. He plays great off man. He knows how to latch on to receivers. He knows to play with physicality. He knows to play against physicality. So, he's a great player. He knows to latch on and scramble drill. He's doing a great job right now. Hopefully he can continue it.
Got to play against the best. This is a step up in class for Jordan Tyson in a big way from the Big 12. I can promise you that. But I've got a good feeling about Jordan Tyson. I think he's going to be a huge addition to this team. The hammy goes in week 2. You understood the risk. But I think he's going to be a really, really good player. And I feel a lot better today about the Saints wide receiver situation than we did in December of last year. That goes without saying, but to say it, I really do. So that's a look at Jordan Tyson meeting with the media today. Saints going to take some time off this weekend. They'll be back in action in a couple of days, and we'll certainly catch up with them Monday and moving forward as training camp's in full swing. And they'll throw some pads on at some point next week, which will be a welcome sight. And we'll certainly have our normal guests. Sharif Ishak will be here on Tuesday. Luke on Thursday. Sean Fazan's usually on call. Kat Terrell usually on call. So we'll get those folks involved, and always appreciate them for putting eyes on it and then giving us what they see, because it's tough for us to get down there to New Orleans and do a midday radio show. So we'll let them handle the eyes on. And of course, my guy Ross Jackson. But Ross generally on with Matt. We don't love to double up show to show. So Ross does an awesome job for LouisianaSports.net, and he'll be checking in with Matt most days on After Further Review right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. All right, we'll step aside, take a time out. Jason Caldwell and the Auburn Tigers. LSU's on the Plains in October. What are they going to be facing? We'll talk to Jason next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. It's not just redesigns and remodels. It can also be, in a way, a remodel, but it's kind of repair, right? If you've got a crack or an imperfection in your shower or in your bathtub, and you see it, and it's not that big, and you think that's no big deal, don't do that. Because if you do that for 6 months, you don't know where water is going through that crack. And it may be getting into your wall, if that's on the second floor, down into the first floor ceiling. And all of a sudden, you've got significant rot, you've got significant mold, you've got issues in places you can't see that can be really, really, really expensive. I've been in insurance for 7 years, and water causes more damage than you realize all the time. So if you've got an imperfection, a crack in your shower or your tub, don't wait. Don't wave it off. Call David Duvall, One Bath and Closets. Let him come out and take a look at it. He'll be able to determine whether or not it's a quick fix or it's something that they need to get in and really take care of. And if you need to remodel things at that time because there's been damage, David is happy to do that for you. He's transformed bathroom after bathroom after bathroom throughout the Baton Rouge area. And he can do it for you. And they'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Check out the website, OneBathAndClosets.com. Get that free consultation today with David Duvall. It's all there at OneBathAndClosets.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Bayou Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Had a fun week in Tampa, Florida last week. Saw a lot of folks, Jason Caldwell being one. And look, when we want to talk Auburn Tigers, there's only one phone call we make, and that is to Jason Caldwell. Almost 3 decades covering Auburn on the Plains, part of the 24/7 network. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Jason, how we doing?
I'm good, Hunt, man. What's up?
Not a lot, just working through a Friday here. Let's talk some Auburn. Before we get into Alex Golesh and what this team's going to look like, Auburn just hasn't played well. Hadn't played well enough for the last 5 years. Is the infrastructure at Auburn good enough, and it just hasn't been coached and recruited well enough, or is there something deeper there?
Yeah, no, I think the infrastructure is in really good shape. You know, built a brand new facility, got enough money to go compete. You know, they just haven't been able to finish and do things. Last year, I think you look at it and go, man, what's the difference in this league now? And you go, well, at the very top of the league, you know, you got Georgia and those things, but they're not blowing teams out like Georgia and Alabama did for the last 15 years. And so can you win close games? And last year Auburn went 5-7 and lost 6 games by less than 7 points or less. And the other one was a 10-point loss to Georgia where they should have been up probably at least 17-0 at the half. And so you went, and you had the option and ability to win every one of those games, and you lost all of them. And so that's kind of been the way. I did a stat recently. They, like in the last, I think it's the last 5 years, they're 5-17 in games decided by 7 points or less. That's the difference between being 8-4 and 5-7. And if you've been 8-4 the last few years, you probably still have your head coach, and you're still in a position to go, man, all right, let's take the next step. They just haven't been able to win those close games, and so that's the task now. Is can you find a way to win some of those games and flip a 5-7 to an 8-4.
What made Alex Golesh attractive to the Auburn administration?
Yeah, I think one thing is it feels old school. I think is one thing. You think about when Auburn's been at its best. Going all the way back to Coach Dye and to when Tuberville and even Gus and Gene Chizik. It was physical, run the football, play defense, do all those things, and that's just the identity of Auburn football. And and you try to do all those other things, and it just hasn't worked out. And so I think you get back to a guy that wants to be physical, run the football. And I think the other part of it is that, you get to go, okay, how do you start the process now? Start it with a quarterback. And look, you're able to plug into place Byron Brown and kind of led the nation in total offense last year. Bring with him a lot of assistance, some offensive linemen, some wide receivers, and no exact blueprint because you're not going to follow what Indiana did, but it feels similar to where you're going. Listen, you're starting over, but you're not starting from ground zero because there's a lot of people that are familiar with each other, and so I think that's the hope is that listen, it's year one, but it's going to feel year like 1.5 or 2 because of the familiar faces that are all together.
I told my listenership, I saw Byron Brown walking toward me in the hallway of that hotel. I think I told you this too, but I didn't know who it was, and I saw his name on one of those cards that they put on those easels so you know who's in that room. And I went, oh, I thought that was a linebacker. That's the quarterback. So tell us what kind of player that Auburn's got under center, behind center, I guess I should say, in Byron Brown this year.
Yeah, it feels like a Nick Marshall kind of guy, in that I think he's going to run to get down here. Like physically, the comparison, when you look at him, the comparison is a little bit of Dak Prescott now. Like he can really run. The throwing motion is going to throw people off when you see him because it has a little bit of a Bernie Kosar kind of look. It's 3/4, Phillip Rivers kind of thing. But I think you look and go, look, everything's going to be predicated off him running the football. Like most guys, if he has to throw it 50 times a game, you're probably not going to work out very well. There's not many times you go Joe Burrow and this guy is going to throw it a bunch and it's still going to be good. But I think you look at what he can do, and I think it's going to be physical running the football. I went and looked last year, and they were top 20 in the country in red zone touchdown percentage. And, you think about adding the extra runner because of the quarterback in a red zone, a guy that weighs 235 pounds. And I would expect them to lean on that. And listen, Alex Golesh is a Josh Heupel disciple, and it's tempo. Try to run fast, try to wear people down, and try to get to the line of scrimmage and snap the football. And that feels 2013-esque for Auburn, and we'll see if they can make some of those plays.
A lot of good running backs over the years on the Plains. Jeremiah Cobb didn't have a lot of help last year. How much better can he be?
Yeah, and I think the key is like you add the dimension of the quarterback to that as well, and you go, man, if you have to worry about the quarterback running the football, you open up some more running lanes for Jeremiah Cobb, and it's a guy that I've seen since he was a sophomore in high school, and he is just steady. He's who he is, and you kind of think about over the years, where does he fit? And like he's kind of unique, but it feels a little bit like a Trey Mason guy. And he's probably not as strong as Trey was, but he's got some of those qualities where he's a really good runner. It gets downhill and doesn't take a lot of losses, and so he's a guy that'll put his foot in the ground and get downhill. And you had Bryson Washington from Baylor, a guy that had a couple of really good seasons for them, and then Omar Mabson's a redshirt freshman who graduated a year early in high school, so he played at 17 last year. So it's a guy now that you got some depth at running back. With Nakai Davenport coming from USF, so it feels like the mix is there pretty good to let Jeremiah Cobb, just go full blow and then give him a break.
Jason Caldwell is our guest. You can follow him at ITAT Jason, covering Auburn for almost 3 decades there on the Plains. It was a big deal here that Blake Baker stayed in a coaching transition. Is it a similar feeling with DJ Durkin at Auburn?
Yeah, no question. I mean, you think about one of the keys for Auburn because of that was because you had so much young talent on defense. They played some older guys, and you lost a few of those guys. But you think about the young guys on this defense, they were able to stay. And obviously Xavier Atkins is a guy that LSU fans are very familiar with that just kind of found his footing in this defense last year. But, you had a bunch of young secondary guys and a group of freshman linebackers that all played last year. And you go, and that's why if you're able to keep him, you don't have to completely start over on defense. And so if you're rebuilding the offense, there's not a ton of faces there. But defensively, because of the DJ Durkin being back, you're able to kind of start and continue the process. Like I said, LSU's the same thing. You're not starting over on both sides of the ball, and that's a really good position to be in.
Look, I see in the middle of the schedule at Tennessee, at Georgia, LSU, at Ole Miss, obviously the Iron Bowl at the end in Tuscaloosa. How important is that start? Baylor, Southern Miss, home Florida, home Vanderbilt, those first 4 games for Auburn?
Yeah, really, really big. And, the thing you just don't know is you don't know till it's over with what game is the biggest one because there's so much unknown. Because last year Auburn goes to Baylor in week 1, and you go, and that's a key game. Baylor been pretty good, and you go out there and win at Baylor. They run the football, and you go, okay, man, that's exactly what you thought this team might look like, and then it just went away. And so you're right, but with the schedule, with the road games, I mean, listen, they drew the 4-5, so they have 5 road games this year. And so because of that, when 2 of those are Georgia and Alabama and the other one's Ole Miss, you start going, okay, that's pretty rough treading there. So yes, you got to take advantage of those home games early in the season.
No question about that. I'm curious about this, the dynamics in the state of Alabama. With Alabama losing what they have, which is 8 games in the last 2 years, does that feel any different for the folks at Auburn that Saban's not just kind of lurking? I mean, it certainly felt that way in Baton Rouge for a long time.
Yeah, 100%. It feels different. Look, even Georgia, because look, Auburn went toe-to-toe with Georgia last year, and that was a 5-win Auburn team. I think it's across the board in this league. You look, and because of the transfer portal, because of the way this thing works, like guys don't stay around to be backups any longer. So the depth that those teams had isn't there any longer. And so you start going, listen, Alabama doesn't have 14 5-star defensive linemen to rotate like they did a few years ago. And so you think about that, like that's the difference. And the other part is like, you look around this league and, LSU didn't bring a quarterback. We know who their quarterback is. But there's teams, Alabama's one of them. It feels strange now to think about a quarterback battle in August camp because of the transfer portal. You now you just go get your quarterback. It feels strange to not know who your quarterback is, and they may know, but if they do, it's still going to be a guy that doesn't have very much experience, and that's an interesting part of this. And they didn't run the football very well. I think from an Auburn's perspective, you feel like it's the first time in 20 years where you feel like this is a real opportunity to go and to get back, to equal footing, or maybe to get back in front of Alabama, because you hadn't had that opportunity in a long time. No question about that. Jason, great to see you last week. Appreciate the time. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch up during football season. Thanks, I appreciate it. Jason Caldwell, part of the 24/7 team covering Auburn, does an awesome job. Been at it for 27 years covering the Auburn Tigers. It's interesting. All of that's interesting to me. Auburn's a fascinating case because that's a demoralizing, as demoralizing as it felt, and I've said this a lot of times, to feel like every single year your season was on the line in Baton Rouge on November the 7th or 4th or 8th or whatever day that game fell, and you just usually came up short. And in the days of the SEC West, where if you lost to Alabama, it was over. It was just felt like your whole season kind of came down to one deal. It's kind of even worse when you're sitting there at Auburn and you're trying to recruit your own state against just a machine there with Nick Saban. And now that's Kalen DeBoer's done okay. They made a playoff last year. They won a playoff game on the road last year. It's not like they've fallen flat, but it's just not the same. And that's just got to be a breath of fresh air for Auburn, but you got to take care of your own house. And the one thing that I noticed when I looked at Auburn before we went to Tampa for media days is they've just been bad for the last 5 years. They've just been bad. Mississippi State's been worse. And Kentucky has been worse, and Arkansas has been worse, and that's about it. Everybody else they're the bottom of the league. And Jordan, I'll just take your opinion on this because I just mentioned it to Jason. We'll see what they do against Baylor and Atlanta, home Southern Miss, home Florida, home Vanderbilt.
Yep.
But here's October, and you tell me how many games you think Auburn's going to win.
Okay.
At Tennessee.
That's a hard one. Man. I like Auburn's quarterback more than Tennessee, so I'll take that one.
At Georgia.
Georgia.
LSU.
Ooh-wee. This is where LSU is at Auburn.
It's at Jordan Hare.
That's a toss-up. I'll go Auburn. Just for the sake of it, I'll go Auburn.
At Ole Miss.
Probably Ole Miss.
And there's a bye week in there. There's a bye week before Georgia. That's the worst team to have a bye week because they're not going to go to Georgia and win anyway.
Yeah.
So, that's 4 games, 3 on the road, at Tennessee, at Georgia, at Ole Miss, plus LSU in the middle of there. And, oh, by the way, none of that includes the Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa, which is the end of the season. It's just if they come out of the gates and say they could start 2-2 versus Baylor, Southern Miss they're going to beat, and then versus Florida, versus Vanderbilt. They could start 4-0. But if they start 2-2, they could be 2-6 in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
In year one under goals. And that is just such air out of the balloon. If you're 2-6. Now, I don't believe they'll be 2-6. I kind of like Auburn personnel-wise because I like their quarterback. I saw him in the hall, as I mentioned. Then I went to YouTube and watched his highlights. And I get it. Playing at South Florida is not the same as playing in the Southeastern Conference. But this dude fits in the Southeastern Conference. He is 6'3", 235 pounds, and he can run in the SEC. Now, I don't think he wants to run 22 times a game, but he can get a first down on 3rd and 2. I promise you. I saw him in person. He's huge. And they got a running back that ran for 1,000 yards on a terrible offense last year. What do they do up front? We'll see. And then DJ Durkin's had good defenses in the SEC for a lot of years. They're going to be a decent football team, and they may be 6-6 to show for it because this schedule is just awful. Like, they do have manageable road game at Mississippi State, and they've got home games they can win against Florida and Vanderbilt and Arkansas, and then so that's doable. And I think those October games, Georgia, they got a 10% chance to win. I think at Tennessee and at Ole Miss are both well under 50%, and I think LSU's a little under 50%. I like LSU to go to Auburn and win. If you can't, I've talked about this a lot. If LSU can't go to Auburn and Kentucky and Arkansas and win, then this season's not going to be what anybody expects anyway. If you lose any of those games, then you're not going to achieve what you want to because you're not going undefeated at home this year. I'll be stunned if LSU beats Clemson and A&M and Texas and Alabama all at home. That would surprise me if you do that. So you've got to take care of your business against some of these lesser teams on the road. Auburn's interesting because I think their quarterback's pretty good, but they've been bad for a while, and they got to get it figured out on the Plains because that's a program way too proud to be at the bottom of the SEC over the last 5 years in wins with teams like Arkansas and Mississippi State. That's not Auburn football. Appreciate Jason for giving us a little time here on this Friday. 30 minutes to go. Come back with us, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Been telling you about it, and I'll tell you about it for one more day because GMC at Fabry Chevrolet GMC is offering employee pricing on 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali's now until August the 3rd. You realize that that's just a couple of days, and they're closed on Sunday. So today, tomorrow, Monday, get on by. Chevy's offering 0% APR financing for 5 years on 2026 Silverado 1500s plus no monthly payments for 90 days. No monthly payments for 90 days and 0% on those Chevy Silverados, plus bonus cash on select new vehicles for firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers, EMT paramedics. If you're a first responder, you can get great savings at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Great customer service, awesome location right there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Go by and see them. If you want to check out the inventory online first, be my guest. FabryChevrolet.com. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic buttered spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. That's HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team, they know what they're doing when it comes to group and employee benefits. If you're a business owner, if you're a CFO, if you're in charge of insuring your employees, you know how financially complicated that is, how much of a burden it can be on the bottom line of a business. If you've had a bad renewal in the recent past, if you're fearful of your next renewal with your healthcare, vision, dental, all the benefits that you insure your employees with, contact the Highland Insurance Group. They're happy to have the conversation. They have, over the course of the last 6-8 months, really made a difference with a number of their clients by giving a second option. There is a certain carrier that handles a lot of benefits in our state that has significantly risen premiums over the last 2 years. If you feel like you know who I'm talking about and that's your carrier, contact the Highland Insurance Group. They're an independent broker and they've got contracts with multiple carriers. They can take another look. I'm not telling you they're going to wipe 12% off the bottom line. I'm telling you they can give another option, and they've had success helping businesses by helping the bottom line. It's important to insure your employees. You attract employees with that. You retain employees with those benefits. If you want to take a second look, Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group are happy to talk to you. They're online at HighlandIG.com. ESPN.com's got a list out of the X Factor for the top 25, each team in college football. And I felt pretty comfortable before I scrolled down to LSU knowing what it was going to be. Wasn't going to be anything on the defense because you got Blake Baker back. You've got some familiar faces. You got some proven commodities that have come in, like Uman Mielen, like Benefield. I didn't think it would be defense. I'm looking at the offense. Like, it could be the offensive line, and certainly there are a lot of new wide receivers. You could tell me that Trey Green was an X factor, and I would believe that as well. But it ultimately boils down to one spot, right? It's the quarterback, and that's what it was. Sam Leavitt is the X factor for LSU, and that's really true, especially when you consider the injury history. It has to be considered. Hopefully, it's a non-factor once we get out there on Wednesday, but it has to be considered. And it's just really hard to point anywhere else, and it'll be a tired talking point, a tired narrative by the time we get to Clemson game week, but we're not quite there yet. It's talking season. It's list season. It's X Factor season. And yeah, Sam Leavitt is the X Factor, and that was not anything that took me off guard whatsoever when I read it. I believe it's to be correct. And you'll hear a lot of different thoughts on Sam Leavitt. You'll hear a lot of people around Baton Rouge who would suggest this guy is going to be a game changer, a difference maker, a guy who was a playoff quarterback as a redshirt freshman and has won a ton of games, has a lot of ability, and is playing for a coach who can get the best out of quarterbacks. You've heard me say that. You hear that a lot out of Baton Rouge. You hear a lot of national talking heads talk about how much they like Sam Leavitt. I know that Todd McShay is high on Sam Leavitt. I know that Joel Klatt is high on Sam Leavitt. There's a lot of guys in the national media that feel like LSU's got a difference maker at quarterback. You're also going to hear some detractors who would say, yeah, Cam Scattergood ran for 1 billion yards. Jordan Tyson, first round wide receiver. Big 12, not great defenses. Played an SEC defense at Mississippi State twice, didn't play well. Missed the whole spring. New system. You can say that too. But ultimately, it's just going to be what he does on the field. And I am choosing to bet on Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss here. And I think it's going to be just fine. I think Sam Leavitt's going to be good. And that was the first place I wanted to look on this list. Now, I wanted to look at some of the teams that LSU is going to play as well. And the first on the list, because Clemson is not in the top 25, so that's not first on this list. The first opponent LSU sees on this list is Ole Miss, who's ranked number 8. And the X factor is not John David Baker. It's not Pete Golding at head coach. The X factor is not the offensive line in front of Trinidad Chambliss and Kejuan Lacey. You're replacing really good wide receivers. The X factor that Ole Miss has here is Luke Farrelly. And it's not because he was the poster child for tampering in the offseason. It's because the sentiment is that Ole Miss wasn't very good at linebacker last year. This story states, overall, Ole Miss gave up 5.2 yards per play, somewhat uncharacteristic of a Golding coach defense. They ranked 69th in the nation in run defense, giving up 4.2 yards a carry. And the thought is that a lot of that was not on the defensive front, which everybody believes is going to be really good at Ole Miss with Eccles and Perkins and that crew is going to be really good on the defensive front. They think the linebackers were an issue. And they think that they've addressed that with Luke Farrelly, who was great at Cal, made 91 tackles, and was the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Clemson wanted him, and he ended up at Ole Miss, and they think he's going to be really good. And that's a key to LSU, who's going to want to run the football at Ole Miss. But there's another aspect to that sends off some bells from Tampa last week where I was talking to a lot of people, and then you see it written here on ESPN, is that the thought is that TJ Daugherty was not necessarily a strength on Ole Miss's defense last year. Yes, whenever I talk about TJ Daugherty, I immediately go to led the SEC in tackles, led the SEC in tackles, led the SEC in tackles. And he did. He played 15 games. That helps. He didn't lead the SEC in tackles per game, but he played 15 games, and he had the most tackles of any player in the SEC. And that's production. There's no question about that. But you look at something like this that suggests that Ole Miss was not very good at linebacker. You listen to some Ole Miss beat writers, and you can tell me it's sour grapes all you want, and that's fine. I don't shy away from that sentiment, but it's an analysis of the team. Ole Miss felt like they need to get better at linebacker. And so here's the deal that I go back to. There are 4 guys that ended up at LSU from Ole Miss. Winnie Watkins, TJ Daugherty, Prince Uleman-Mielen, and Devin Harper. Ole Miss only signed 2 of those guys to rev share agreements. And you could make the point that they did that because those are the 2 guys they wanted to keep, and they felt like they could replace the other guys more easily. That's Daugherty and Watkins, and it brings me back to Daugherty. And I'm not here to disparage the guy. I really enjoyed talking to him at SEC Media Days. But the sentiment is that although the stat sheet suggests TJ Daugherty was really, really good last year, the folks in Oxford aren't as sure. The folks at ESPN aren't as sure. And the folks at Pro Football Focus are not sure. You look at his grades last year, they're not great. So that's something to pay attention to with LSU and on that defense. When I talk about their linebacker core, I'm going to talk about how high the floor is. Because Weeks is there and has been massively productive. Because Daugherty is there and has been massively productive. Because Devon Keys has been there and has been massively productive. He's second in the SEC in tackles last year. But would you say that Devon Keys was like a game changer last year? I don't know if I'd go that far. Productive, yeah. Great, So it's Blake Baker and really Chris Kiffin's job, who's now the linebackers coach, to make sure that those guys are stepping up a notch, that those guys are playing a little bit better than they did last year. I still think LSU's got a good linebacker core. But, this is a time to kind of pay attention to what's going on in the SEC personnel-wise and what people think about this guy or that guy. It'll all be proven on the field. But I was interested to see that when you're talking about X factors like, Ole Miss, it's Luke Farrelly at linebacker because they felt like that was patching a hole in the defense, and the hole is on LSU's starting defense for next year. Again, I'm not telling you it's true. I'm telling you what people are saying, what I'm reading. We'll see. I'll consider that as I start talking about this team as we get into August, which, by the way, we'll be in on Monday. LSU reports to camp on Tuesday, and we'll practice for the first time Wednesday morning, I believe, sometime before the noon o'clock hour. So we're here. We're just about here. Saints are in business, and LSU cranks things up Tuesday into Wednesday with that first practice. We got one more order of business. It's take it or leave it. We'll get to that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci! Go take a tour at Marucci. You're still not in school. Those kiddos aren't in school. They're looking for stuff to do for the last week or so. Take a tour of Marucci. Learn where the official bat of Major League Baseball is made. 1,200 every single day. You can see the process. See if they take that wood, shave it down, mold it into the official bat of Major League Baseball, stain it, ship it off. Best players in the world swing Marucci. And it's a great story right here in Baton Rouge. You can learn the story. You can see the facility. It's awesome. And become a member of the Hitter's House. Got a youth baseball or softball player wants to take some hacks, wants to get in the cage. You can do it 24/7 with your key card access at the Hitter's House at Marucci. Get on by, tell them you heard about it on 104.5 ESPN. You want to become a member so your kiddo can get in there and take some swings. It's all there at Marucci. They're online at maruccisports.com. It is Marucci.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Got a back-to-school party or an end-of-summer party, maybe a birthday party, feeding the office for a lunch and learn, or just because you're a nice boss on a Friday. Cork's always happy to do some catering for you. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Delicious jumbo Gulf shrimp, crispy fried catfish, the shoestring fries, get the slaw, honey butter rolls. Got your hush puppies. Get the beignet bites. Always a great option for dessert. Got the tackle box kids meals for the kids if you're looking for that as well. Great option right there on Government between Foster and Jefferson. The entire menu's there online at corksfishandshrimp.com. Check them out. They're bringing our Friday shows over at Corks. All right, let's close out the week with Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, Hunt, so a lot of crazy things have happened over the last couple of days, and TSA has had to speak up. So people have tried to bring some truly bizarre things through the airport over the years.
Okay.
Well, today, they discovered a live snake hidden inside a computer during a baggage screening. So,
a what?
A live snake was hidden inside of a laptop screen as it was going through the baggage. So TSA had to come out with a, like a, hey,
Is
man.
this like those big, colorful Mac computers that I had in sixth grade that was like the size of an oil drum?
No, we talking slim.
A laptop?
Laptop. Snake. Live snake.
No.
So we're going to have to, you know what?
Is this an intentional smuggling?
I don't know. I don't even know, like, the intent of bringing the snake.
I despise snakes, okay?
Not a snake guy.
Despise. This is the most frightening creature on the planet. Snakes can choke you.
Yep.
They can spit venom at you, bite you and kill you. They can swim and climb trees.
Can climb
It's the
trees.
most terrifying invention in history. And under no circumstance can one be on an airplane while I'm there.
Sneaking it on the plane, by the way. Snakes on the plane.
I've had this recurring dream over a lot of my life where I am walking in a nondescript place, a house, an office, a classroom,
No
whatever.
idea. Just walk.
And there are snakes coiled up, not moving, just coiled up at every inch. And I'm just tiptoeing around them
the
like
snakes?
endlessly. They're just everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't had it in a while, thankfully, but I've had this a lot of times. I don't like it. I don't like snakes, and I don't like this take it or leave it. Get rid of this. Get rid of this segment.
All right, so you might like this one. Chips Ahoy will give.
Yes, this is much better.
We'll
Chips
give
Ahoy.
$25,000 to someone who correctly guessed this new mystery cookie. It's a limited edition hidden flavor. It's got caution packaging all around it, and basically they're doing like a social media thing. They want fans to come in, guess this cookie flavor, and they'll reveal the flavor on Halloween. So could Hunt Palmer guess this cookie flavor for $25,000?
I mean,
take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
I've tasted all the flavors. I mean, what
It's
are
a
we
mystery
talking
flavor.
about?
I
here?
don't know. So can you guess it for $25,000?
How many tries do I get? One?
I mean, you just got to put it in there. It's like social media wise, they want to do like one of those little.
You don't get to taste it.
Yeah, no, you
just
gotta
get
guess
to
it. You
guess.
gotta guess it.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta
like,
guess it.
well, just let me taste it. I'll tell you what the flavor
Yeah,
is.
no, he's got to guess it.
Well, probably not.
It's a
I probably
crapshoot.
can't guess. Based on what we've been hearing Cheetos doing and what everybody's doing, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's gonna be crazy.
Surely it's something sweet, and we're not doing something.
But it's Halloween, so it's going to get released during Halloween. So let's say it might be a Halloween type of flavor, pumpkin.
I think we're talking a collaboration with some sort of other food company.
Okay.
Which could be some sort of beverage maker, like they collaborated with a Sprite flavored Chips Ahoy or something.
That would actually, after all these new take it or leave it I've found over the last couple of weeks, I can honestly see that. Chips Ahoy and Sprite coming together. And matter of fact, it wouldn't be Sprite flavor. It'd be like cherry Sprite, Chips Ahoy flavored cookies. You know what? You know how we need to go put that in. We might get $25,000.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't like my odds on that.
All right, so all week I've been monitoring this Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've been going back and forth, y'all. I promise you, I'm just not using the same thing every day. They've been going back and forth.
That needs to start the NFC South is burning. That's what it needs to start.
All right, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers reportedly, they did not like what Baker Mayfield had to say.
Well, no joke.
Basically throwing the franchise under the bus about the contract. And this is what Adam Schefter had to say on Pat McAfee's show today. It almost feels like it's Baker versus the team. Baker's not happy with them. They're not happy with the way Baker spoke about the organization. So, I mean, there's no way this is not a distraction going into the season. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Okay.
I have talked to a lot of former NFL players, all of them LSU guys, and I know a bunch of guys in the league, but we know a lot of former NFL players here.
Yes.
And the thing that they've all said is they understand that it's a business and the guys have to take care of themselves. And then once they get into the locker room at practice, it's not a thing.
Yeah, it's not
it's
bad blood.
Yeah, and I think I can see it being a big distraction if Baker just hates the Buccaneers front office. But on the same side of it, if he hates the Buccaneers front office, then you show them up by balling out and signing a $52 million deal with Atlanta next year.
Lord.
Baker doesn't have the option of just leaving.
Yeah, he can't.
So the only way for him to get more money is to go play well. So it's not a good look, and I'm on Baker's side here. A 3-year contract or a 2-year deal is just a 2-year deal is just absurd.
Yeah.
You give Luke McCown a 2-year deal. You don't give Baker Mayfield a 2-year deal when he goes to the playoffs almost every year. So I realize that paying Baker Mayfield $50 million is a big thing to swallow, but like, what's your other option?
I think it's like Kyle Trask. I don't even know who's the backup at this point. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you want to pick 5th in the draft? Put Kyle Trask out there. I don't think Baker was even that inflammatory. He could have said no comment.
He didn't say nothing crazy. Yeah.
He was very calm.
He was upset.
He's not using profanity.
Yeah.
He said that we're not close to a deal, and I'm disappointed, and I'm just going to go play ball.
Exactly
it wasn't.
What he said.
I didn't find it inflammatory. So whatever. I don't think Tampa's handling themselves very well there.
What I say for take it or leave it.
All right, that's it for us on this Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of it, talk some Auburn with Jason Caldwell. The rest of the show is devoted to LSU and the Saints. Talked about LSU's roster and its age, youth, first experience. That's at Hunt on LSU. Heard from Jordan Tyson. Also talked about Chris Olave's extension. You can find all that at Hunt on Saints. Find all our stuff on demand at the Hunt Palmer Show, wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home this weekend. And after further review, we're back Monday. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Before I tell you about our friends at Ochsner, it's still hot out there, y'all. It's really hot. It's July. We're moving into August, the hottest time of the year. Make sure you're hydrating. That's important year-round, but especially important this time of year. Staying hydrated is essential for overall health, performance. It plays a key role in how your body functions every day. Proper hydration is going to support your energy, your focus, your recovery. If you're outside for under an hour, drink a cup of water every 15 minutes. Nothing crazy, just a cup of water. If you're over an hour, you need to go with some electrolytes. Aim for a 2-to-1 water to sports drink ratio and try to keep that on the low sugar end. If you feel like you've got a dry or sticky mouth, you're feeling lightheaded, your heart rate's up, or a major red flag, mental changes, then stop. If you feel off, stop. That's the most important thing we've been telling y'all the entire month of July. If you're dehydrated and you need medical attention, find your nearest Ochsner Urgent Care at ochsner.org/UC. Find your nearest urgent care at ochsner.org/UC.